Do I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark? I mean, which one is it? Which one is it?
Do I call you the female Steph Curry? Or is it time we start calling Steph Curry the male Caitlin Clark? This isn't just hyperbole, it's a question that's shaking the foundations of sports. Stephen A. Smith recently set the sports world on fire by comparing Caitlin Clark to one of the NBA's greatest shooters, Steph Curry, suggesting that Clark has the talent to score in an NBA game. But this isn't just a casual comparison, it's a recognition of a seismic shift that's challenging the very fabric of basketball as we know it. "I think I'll just be the female version of Steph," Caitlin Clark replied modestly. But let's not be mistaken, this isn't just about humility. It's about a young woman who's not only matching the feats of one of the greatest players in basketball history, but also redefining the landscape of women's sports. Clark's shooting mechanics are nearly identical to Curry's, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. What's happening here is a revolution, one where the lines between men's and women's sports are being blurred, and it's Caitlin Clark leading the charge. Stephen A. Smith didn't just praise Clark's shooting, he highlighted her exceptional ball handling, court vision, and overall impact on the game. "I haven't seen any woman in college basketball shoot like Caitlin Clark," Smith boldly stated, echoing the sentiments of an increasingly awestruck sports community. But Smith isn't alone in this growing chorus of admiration. NBA legend Paul Pierce, not known for throwing around compliments lightly, went so far as to call Clark's NCAA performances the best he's ever seen, regardless of gender. This isn't just flattery, it's a declaration that Caitlin Clark isn't just one of the best female players, she's one of the best, period. The impact Clark has had on women's college basketball is nothing short of earth-shattering. In a sport where women's achievements are often overlooked or downplayed, Clark has torn through the status quo, shattering records and forcing even the most stubborn critics to acknowledge her greatness. But this isn't just about what happens on the court. Clark's influence is reverberating throughout society, challenging deep-seated stereotypes and redefining what's possible for female athletes. Then there's Shaquille O'Neal, never one to mince words, who took things a step further by declaring Caitlin Clark the greatest female collegiate player of all time. "She's phenomenal," O'Neal proclaimed, "and when a man of Shaq's stature speaks, the world listens." O'Neal's endorsement isn't just another compliment, it's a recognition of Clark's rightful place among the basketball elite, a place that has traditionally been reserved for men. But what's truly remarkable is how Clark is earning this respect from all corners of the basketball world, even from those who are usually hesitant to heap praise. Kevin Garnett, known for his intense competitive spirit and high standards, couldn't hold back his admiration for Clark. "If you're not in Steph Curry's level of fitness, that's how she plays," Garnett said on his podcast, drawing a direct line between Clark and one of the NBA's all-time greats. This comparison isn't just about their shooting range or style of play, it's about the tireless work ethic, the relentless drive, and the unyielding commitment to excellence that both players embody. Clark isn't just playing the game, she's revolutionizing it, bringing a new level of intensity and skill that demands to be acknowledged. But this isn't just a story about Caitlin Clark's rise, it's a story about the changing dynamics of sports, the way gender, race, and identity intersect on the court, and how these factors are forcing a reckoning in the world of basketball. Paul Pierce's comments about Clark's domination over a team of black players from LSU have ignited a firestorm of debate, not just about race, but about the cultural forces at play in women's basketball. Pierce may have intended to highlight Clark's dominance, but his words have peeled back the layers of a much deeper issue, one that extends far beyond the game itself. Caitlin Clark isn't just a white, heterosexual woman excelling in a predominantly black, lesbian league. She's a lightning rod for a broader cultural conversation about who gets to succeed and how their success is perceived. This isn't just about basketball, it's about the societal implications of her success, the way her identity shapes the narrative around her achievements, and the uncomfortable truths that are coming to light because of it. Pierce's remarks, while intended to praise, have opened up a Pandora's box of issues that the sports world can no longer ignore. And the commentary doesn't stop there. NBA icon Allen Iverson, a player who himself broke the mold and redefined the game, has thrown his weight behind Clark as well. "Man, she shoots the blood out of the ball," Iverson said, comparing her to the best of the best. Iverson's endorsement isn't just about Clark's ability to score, it's about her potential to transform the sport, just as Iverson did in his prime. Iverson's recognition of Clark's talent is a monumental moment, signaling a passing of the torch from one game changer to another, and solidifying Clark's role as a trailblazer in women's sports. Perhaps the most earth-shattering endorsement comes from Shaquille O'Neal, who boldly declared Caitlin Clark the best female collegiate player ever. I'm going to go on the record and say she's the best female collegiate player of all time. O'Neal said, igniting a storm of debate among basketball fans and pundits alike. When co-hosts Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith challenged this assertion, mentioning other greats like Maya Moore and Diana Taurasi, Shaq didn't back down. I said what I said. This wasn't just a casual opinion, it was a statement that shook the foundations of basketball, forcing a reevaluation of what it means to be the greatest. Clark's historic performance in the NCAA tournament, where she became the NCAA Division I all-time leading scorer, is more than just a record, it's a watershed moment in sports history. With a long three-pointer against Michigan, Clark didn't just break Kelsey Plum's record, she shattered the notion that women's achievements should be measured differently from men's. This was a moment that transcended gender, race, and tradition, a moment that will be remembered as the day women's basketball truly arrived on the world stage. You can't walk through downtown Indianapolis on game day without seeing Caitlin Clark's number 22 everywhere you look. Her impact isn't just felt on the court, it's in the stands, in the streets, and in the hearts of the fans who wear her jersey with pride. Her historic triple-double against the New York Liberty wasn't just a personal milestone, it was a declaration that women's basketball is here to stay, and it's more exciting than ever. Clark isn't just a player, she's a phenomenon, and she's turning the WNBA into must-watch TV. But with Clark's meteoric rise comes intense scrutiny. Her rookie season in the WNBA has been a wild ride, with moments of brilliance mixed with intense pressure. Despite her incredible performances, including a 30-point game against the Mystics, the Indiana Fever have struggled, and the blame game has begun. Fans and analysts alike are questioning the decisions of Indiana Fever coach Christie Sides, from her timeout strategies to her player rotations. The tension between Clark and Sides has become a focal point, especially after Clark appeared to defy Sides' instructions during a critical game against the Chicago Sky. The scrutiny goes beyond just Clark's relationship with her coach, it's about the very future of the Indiana Fever and, by extension, the WNBA. The team's struggles have led to questions about whether they are maximizing the potential of a generational talent like Clark or if poor coaching decisions are holding her back. The fact that a team with 3 All-Stars is underperforming has led to a chorus of criticism, with some even calling for a complete overhaul of the coaching staff. Adding to the controversy, the Indiana Fever recently posted a video of a pre-practice scavenger hunt, which has sparked outrage among fans and commentators. What might have been seen as a lighthearted team-building exercise is now being viewed as a symptom of deeper problems within the organization. Critics argue that this focus on activities that seem more appropriate for a high school team is indicative of a lack of seriousness and professionalism at a time when the team desperately needs to be focusing on winning. The backlash has been fierce, with many calling for the Fever to abandon these gimmicks and get back to the basics of basketball offensive and defensive strategy, conditioning, and mental toughness. The criticisms of Coach Christie Sides have reached a fever pitch. Her decisions are under the microscope, with every move she makes scrutinized for signs of weakness or incompetence. Fans are growing impatient, especially as the Fever's playoff hopes hang by a thread. The team's performance since the Olympic break has been underwhelming, and the pressure is mounting. With every loss, the calls for Sides' dismissal grow louder, with many believing that her job is on the line if the Fever fail to make a deep playoff run. The stakes have never been higher. The future of Christie Sides as head coach of the Indiana Fever is uncertain, and with the team's struggles, her position is becoming increasingly precarious. Many believe that unless there is a significant turnaround, perhaps a miracle run to the finals, her days as coach are numbered. The situation is dire, and the clock is ticking. Amid all this turmoil, one thing remains clear: Caitlin Clark is not just a rising star in the WNBA, she's a force of nature, transforming the league in ways that are both profound and lasting. Her influence goes beyond the court, driving a surge in viewership, attendance, and overall interest in women's basketball that hasn't been seen in years. The excitement she generates isn't just about her incredible play, it's about what she represents, the future of women's sports. Caitlin Clark's impact is reshaping the WNBA, driving real change in a league that has long struggled for recognition and respect. Her presence is not just boosting attendance and ratings, it's pushing the WNBA into the spotlight, demanding that it be taken seriously as a professional league. The increased visibility and revenue brought in by stars like Clark are leading to tangible improvements, from better travel arrangements to more chartered flights for players. These changes are making a difference, not just in the quality of life for the players, but in the overall perception of the league. This isn't just about basketball, it's about changing the narrative. For too long, women's sports have been treated as an afterthought, relegated to the background while men's sports took center stage. But Caitlin Clark is challenging that narrative, proving that women's basketball can be just as thrilling, just as competitive, and just as worthy of attention as men's. Her performances are a rallying cry for equality in sports, a demand that women's achievements be given the same respect and recognition as those of men. As Caitlin Clark continues to rise, so too does the WNBA. Her presence is not a flash in the pan, it's a transformative force that is reshaping the future of the league. The question is not if Clark will continue to dominate, but how her influence will continue to grow and how the WNBA will capitalize on this momentum to build a brighter, more prosperous future for women's basketball. The conversation is just beginning, and it's one that will define the future of sports. Will the WNBA and its stars like Caitlin Clark finally receive the recognition they deserve, or will they continue to fight an uphill battle for respect and equality? The stakes are high and the outcome is uncertain, but one thing is clear: Caitlin Clark is not just a player, she's a game changer. And the world is watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This is a debate that's far from over.